drawing the elevations, I'll start with laying the elevations out. The door elevation is probably the simplest to do, as it is directly above the plan, and is a view as if we are looking from the bottom of the drawing up through the plan. And the only information that we haven't got will be to do with the heights of the various objects, of the windows, the doors, and of the hallway itself. All the horizontal information we can get from the plan itself, and we use the set square connected to the parallel motion to take information up from the plan directly to the door elevation itself. And what I've done is I've measured across the drawing. I've worked out how much space I need for the different elevations, and then, as I said before, deducted that from the size of the paper itself, so that I've got plenty of room on the drawing for each of the elevations. What I'm doing now to get the side elevation, looking at the right of the plan, what we have to do is we could, as we've done with the door elevation, we could just project it to the right, but it will be on its side. What we want to do is to project it up onto the elevation line. So I'm using a 45-degree angle to bend the elevation around, so I can take dimensions off the side of the plan, and using the 45-degree line, I can then take those up onto the line itself, and to get the far elevation, to get the left-hand side of the wall with the arch, I need to take a line at the opposite angle to the 45, a 45-degree line itself, but in the other direction. And what that does is it takes that left elevation across and reverses it, so that we see it as if we're looking across the plan from the right towards the wall with the arch in it. It's a bit tricky to kind of get your head round, but you'll see that it does in fact work, and that what we see is each of the elevations we see as if we're looking from inside the room at that particular wall, and that's what we're able to do. Okay, so now I have the kind of blocks of the elevations laid out. What I'm doing is to label them. In fact, what I'm doing on this drawing is labeling them as sections, though in fact they are, to all intents, elevations as well. So if you like, it's an elevation on a section. I'm kind of showing here how each of the block elevations relate to the plan, and that's quite important. It's important for the development of the detail in the elevation, and that the elevations themselves are correct and accurate according to the plan, that they relate properly. We must kind of remind ourselves that the reason for the technical drawing, the objective, if you like, of the technical drawing, is to, through different views, through the plan and the combination of the elevations, to be able to communicate an accurate representation of a three-dimensional object. The plan, we're looking down on top, and the elevations, we're at ground level, at plan level if you like, and we're looking at the walls that the plans indicate. So now I'll start to draw in the front elevation, the elevation looking up through the hall towards the door. So this is the inside of the front door. And I started off with a kind of coving, the roof line, as I think that in a set like this, any kind of coving or moulding at the head of the set makes things easier and kind of makes a nice line for the roof, for the ceiling. And will kind of fit together with any ceiling pieces that need to be brought in or taken out. What I also do is to put a step at the door so that anyone coming through the door is kind of raised above anyone who's inside the hall, so that as a character comes through the door, they have a natural advantage in height over everyone else in the room. Again, just very simply drawn. The step would be about 150 millimeters high, nothing too steep. It's very important that everything you design has a sort of an ergonomic factor, is easy for people to use, and won't trip the actors up, doesn't make another problem for the actors, over and above the work that they already have to do. It's very much your job as a designer to facilitate the performer wherever you can in the set. So what I'm doing now is laying out vertically, which I've taken off the plan, the sides of the door and the sides of the two windows either side of the door. So the only thing I'm adding at this point is the kind of the vertical heights of elements. So again, as I've done earlier on in the drawings, using the pencil, using the weight of the pencil to make things as clear as I can, starting off with guidelines, but then as things take shape, drawing the actual shapes in kind of more heavily to define them. Not being too fussy about the ends of the guidelines and the outline.